The lunch crowd buzzed inside La Maison Bleue, a high-end French bistro in New York, known for serving elite business executives. Among the waitstaff was Naomi, a 24-year-old college student working double shifts to pay for her master's degree. Fluent in 5 languages, Naomi was sharp, observant, and completely underestimated by nearly every customer she served. That afternoon, a group of executives from a tech firm arrived, loud and full of themselves. At the head of the table sat Mr. Thornton, the CEO, polished suit, flashy watch, and the kind of smile that didn't reach his eyes. As Naomi approached with menus, Thornton gave her a slow glance and chuckled. "You work here to meet rich men, huh?" The table laughed. Naomi froze for half a second, then replied calmly, "I work here to pay tuition." Thornton rolled his eyes. Same difference. Naomi walked away without another word. But she'd overheard something as he spoke to his team. They were expecting French investors within the hour, and their translator had just cancelled. What Thornton didn't know? Naomi spoke fluent French. Back in the kitchen, Naomi pulled aside her manager. "I think Mr. Thornton's meeting is about to fall apart. He just lost his translator." Her manager blinked. "And how do you know that?" "I overheard him," she replied. "I also know French. Maybe I can help." He hesitated. "Are you sure?" "I'm not asking to be hired as a consultant," she said. "But if I can help save a table that size, I should." 10 minutes later, 2 sharply dressed French executives arrived. They sat, looked confused, and asked the hostess, in French, if anyone spoke their language. The hostess froze. That's when Naomi stepped forward. "Bienvenue, messieurs. Nous sommes ravis de vous accueillir." "Welcome, gentlemen. We're happy to have you." Their faces lit up. "Ah, merci. Vous parlez français?" Thornton looked stunned. "Wait, you speak French?" Naomi smiled. "Fluently." He hesitated. "Fine. Help us get through this lunch." What began as a disaster quickly turned into the most productive meeting the firm had had in months. And it was all thanks to the waitress they had just laughed at. Naomi translated effortlessly, bridging technical terms, cultural nuances, and even helping correct a misworded pitch that could have offended the investors. The French businessmen were impressed. Not just with the product, but with Naomi's intelligence, charm, and professionalism. "She understands more than your translator likely would have," one of them joked. Naomi remained poised and respectful, never once reminding Thornton of his earlier insult, but the humiliation on his face said it all. After dessert, the French investors stood and shook hands with Thornton, and then turned to Naomi. "We would love to work with a team that has someone like you on it," one said with a nod. When they left, Thornton sat back in his chair, silent. Naomi cleared the table. He looked up and said, "You really saved me today." She smiled. "That wasn't the plan, but I wasn't going to let you lose the deal over pride." He laughed nervously. "Guess I owe you an apology." Naomi replied, "It's not about the apology, it's about what you'll do differently next time." The next day, Naomi got a call from the restaurant manager. "Mr. Thornton wants to meet you privately. He says it's important." Naomi considered declining, but agreed. She showed up in a blazer, not an apron. Thornton was already seated. This time, no jokes. "I didn't just lose a translator yesterday. I lost perspective. You're smarter than anyone I've interviewed in the last 6 months." He slid a folder across the table. "This is a paid internship in our international development team. Language skills, cultural intelligence, problem solving. We need someone like you." Naomi opened it slowly. "Why me?" she asked. Thornton sighed. "Because you saw the situation, stepped up, and didn't let ego get in the way. That's leadership." She smiled. "I'll think about it." He nodded. "There." Naomi didn't say yes right away, but she did walk out knowing her value had finally been recognized by someone who once saw her as invisible. 2 months later, Naomi was balancing two lives, finishing school and working part-time with Thornton's firm. She helped bridge relationships across their European clients and was being mentored for future leadership. But she never forgot where she came from. She still stopped by La Maison Bleue every week. Not to serve, but to speak with the staff, tip well, and remind them, where you are right now doesn't define where you'll be. Her story spread across LinkedIn after a team member posted, "Our firm's biggest deal this year? Closed by a waitress who spoke French better than our CEO." It went viral. Naomi was soon invited to speak at universities, language institutes, and women in business panels. One student raised her hand and asked, "How did you know you were ready?" Naomi smiled. "I didn't. I just knew no one else was going to speak up. So I did." She never stopped being humble, but she stopped being underestimated, because one moment of courage changed everything.